welcome to the podcast.
Okay, thank you.
Here
Thank you.
at Horizon Deep Tech in Madrid,
Thank you.
straight on the floor of the convention.
Okay.
You've been invited
Yes.
by our lovely team of assistants here
Yes.
to join the podcast
Yes.
because they and we believe that we might be able to pull some interesting stories from your life
Sure.
out of you in the next 20 minutes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
So before we dive into what you do today and what you're doing here,
Yes.
could you maybe walk us through a bit about your personal background?
Yes.
So where you're from, some educational background,
Sure.
and how you ended up in the position you're in today.
Sure. Thank you, Christian. And very happy to be here. So I am Juan Lataza, and I am currently today I'm here as the president of the MIT Alumni Entrepreneurship Forum of Spain. We are a non-profit organization in Spain associated with the MIT alumni officially since 2010. We were created in 2010. I have been the president for the last 6 years now. I am an MIT alumni myself. I graduated, I'm from Spain, but I went to study to the US, and I was very, very lucky to get into MIT and to get a scholarship to study there for my bachelor's degree, which I did in physics. I will tell you later why I did physics, not engineering, which was my original idea. But I was very lucky, as I said, to go in and graduate. And then I always say it was difficult to get into MIT. It was more difficult to get out and to graduate after 4 years. Then I stayed working at the Media Lab, the famous Media Lab, as a programmer in a joint project with Harvard. Well, anyway, so that's my academic background. Then I came back. And that experience, by the way, I will talk about a little bit more because it connects to what I'm doing here today. Okay, but that experience, 5 years studying there, basically changed my life, and it changed the way I see the world. Studying at probably what's considered to be the #1 university in the world by many rankings, #1 in terms of Nobel Prizes, #1 in terms of research and patent filings, for example, worldwide. I mean, it just every dimension at MIT, it just blows your mind. How powerful place it is for science and technology. So that and I should say that experience changed my life, not only because I studied there and along with very brilliant people, but I would say for three things. You always say, and I connect now with what we are doing here, right? I'm not going off track because it has a lot to do with what we do here today. So first of all, I learned when I was a student there, I learned humility. So there are very, very important, very, I would say, bright people out there who are not assuming, are non-assuming, do not look important walking down the hall, and they are extremely brilliant people, much more than, I should say, than I was. I was an average student at MIT, which was, not bad at all, and I will tell you the end of the story now. So second thing I learned is about hard work. So with enough hard work, I could do, anything, that is, thrown at me, basically. The intensity of the academic pressure there was very high, extremely high, and 4 years, 24/7, including nights, it was just very, very intense. And with hard work, I was able to graduate. I graduated actually in the top of the physics class. I did physics there, as I said, and I was very, very happy I did that, which was totally unexpected. And the reason is because I was an average student. My GPA was average, but the last 2 years, laboratory work is very important there, and I learned that by working harder than other people in laboratory work, I could get better grades, basically. And the more intelligent people, were not so hardworking people at the labs. So on average, so I ended up doing extremely well in the laboratory work and my senior thesis, and that basically put me in the top of the class, with a few decimals at the very last minute, I should say. So I was very lucky to graduate with honors and in the physics department. And that, again, was a life-changing experience because it allowed me to then continue working there for a year, pay off some student loans I had, and just enjoy even the MIT experience to the full. After that, and I said, a third thing I learned, which is more personal, is, I am a very family person. So I missed a lot my family after so many years, and I learned that I wanted to live the rest of my life near my family. So, which sometimes when you are a teenager, you look at things differently. So I came back to Spain after I graduated, and decided to settle back in Madrid and work here in the telecoms industry. So it was in the early 90s. I graduated in 91, I came back in 92, and I started to work in telecoms, straight into telecoms. And at the moment, maybe judging by your age, I mean, you look a lot younger than me, but but I suppose that you remember, the internet boom and the telecoms, boom in the late 90s and early 2000s. So I was in the big companies there in telecom. So I worked for AT&T first, and then Telefonica, and then Vodafone for about 20 years. In new project development, entrepreneurship projects, and new company launch. Basically, I was doing all kinds of things. I learned a lot. I worked very, very hard, along with great people, in the middle of a huge boom of the industry and total transformation in the industry. I always say that was a very entrepreneurial time of my life, where we launched new projects and new services, new companies every year. I mean, it was wild. For example, when I joined Telefonica in the late 97, 98, I was early, so it was late 97, early 98, I joined Telefonica. So we were still charging, and telecoms operators all over the world, we were charging per minute, on voice calls, and we were charging SMS, remember, per SMS. This was our cash cow. 10 years later, we were, all selling flat tariffs with voice, data, video, everything mobile, all packed together. Imagine the transformation that has to go into not only the technical aspects of the company, the networks, etc., but also the business aspects. The business modeling.
Totally different model.
Totally different industry in 10 years only. So I was very, very happy to be there, and I learned a lot. And then I moved to Vodafone, going through the UK sometime. I worked abroad also for some time, UK and Ireland. And then I came back to Spain with my family and decided to join Vodafone. And in 2012, difficult time of my life, I will say, and it has to do with what I'm doing here today, because big economic crisis in Europe, 2011, remember, end of 2011. 2012, I was given 15 days notice to leave the company. Say, you are the last, most expensive executive to come into our company. This was Vodafone, no secret. And they treated me well, gave me a good package, but I had to leave, no questions asked. So very difficult moment of my life, after 20 years in corporate life with a family and kids. So I had to start, reinventing myself, and this is when I started to do entrepreneurship on my own. This time I will do it for me. And this is how it got started into entrepreneurship. I started to set up my own consulting company first. Then I did a couple of startups which failed. One thing I'm very happy about from that period was my initial co-founding role in a venture capital here in Spain, called Swan Lab Venture Capital. It is the first Spanish and Israeli VC fund. And to be honest, when I was starting to think about this with my partners and the founding members, we were talking, we need to do this this thing called venture capital. I mean, investing in technology. We're good at analyzing technology and recommending other people to put money into them. So why don't we do this professionally? And this is how we. And what is this called in the world? Oh, this is called venture capital. So let's set up a venture capital in Spain in 2011 when nobody was doing venture capital first. I mean, there were a couple of venture capital companies in Spain, but it was a very open space. So we started. It was very hard work. And we did the fundraising. We did a lot of hard work, and it was not some of my other people, some of my other founding members had more money than I did, and I said I cannot continue with this. It's been 3 years of fundraising. We are not closing the fund. I'm giving up. Oh no, don't give up. So I'm glad I didn't, because we finally did close the first fund, 40 million euros for technology investment in Spain in B2B software. And now we're in our third fund in Swan Lab. I'm not an active executive there, but I was, I am a GP, and I was at the board, those first years. And that helped me a lot. That taught me a lot about entrepreneurship also, because we joined with a very well-known Israeli fund, Githa Ventures, coming to Spain. I learned a lot also with them, and that helped me a lot also to get into entrepreneurship mentoring, even teaching, in a couple of universities and business schools. So that's how I got into teaching, which I do right now as I said, in a couple of universities and business schools here in Spain. And then after that, and this is connecting to the last dots here and why I'm here. So I became very involved with the MIT alumni community back in Spain, and I became active in the board of directors here of the Alumni Association, and then I was asked to take over this non-profit foundation, which somebody else had created, not my credit, not my merit, but I was asked to take over 6 years ago, and to do non-profit entrepreneurship activities. Okay, and we have been active ever since. What do we do here today to end the story? So we are the investor track today for B2B deep tech growth companies within the Deep Tech Summit. As the MIT Entrepreneurship Forum of Spain, we have been doing this for the last 14 years now, and this is our 14th edition, which we're joining forces with the Deep Tech Summit to do together, and we're very happy that we're doing that. We are, Deep Tech Summit organizers and Futuro Perfecto. They are great partners. They are doing this also with a lot of effort. We are putting our contribution for the Deep Tech Growth Tickets Investor Forum, which we did this morning, and it went very well. We invited of almost 100 startups which applied in deep tech from Spain. We selected 28 finally, very good ones, and we do speed dating meetings, one-to-one speed dating meetings with active investors only in deep tech in Spain, which today there were 20. Okay, both venture capital and corporates. Okay. So this is what we have done today. We are announcing our 3 winners later this afternoon, which we will then send to MIT this summer, because this is part of our mission to connect the entrepreneurship world to entrepreneurship ecosystem here with MIT. So that's what we're right now doing. Just about to announce the 3 winners for today.
Amazing. Amazing backstory.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. We could fill out whole books about this book backstory.
Maybe I was I went around a little bit, just to end.
No, there was a point to everything. I
to end today. Yes, to end today.
But what I get is that you've been in the corporate world and in the startup scene for so many years.
Yeah. Plus 30 years, really. Yeah.
And even in the corporate world, also not a startup per se, but you've seen a lot of changes in industries.
Yeah, new changes, and then as an entrepreneur, because sometimes you were asked, put a team together of 3 people and launch this new product or launch this new company, and it was a very entrepreneurial. sometimes it's easy to work in corporates because basically you get your salary paid,
Yeah.
regardless what you do. Then that's the fixed salary. The variable salary, that's a different story. But you are doing a huge amount of effort, when you are you're working as an entrepreneur, because it's not for your own benefit,
Yeah.
it's for somebody
Yeah,
else's
exactly.
benefit. Working as an entrepreneur for your own benefit and for your own company is so much more fulfilling
Yeah.
and so much
Yeah,
more
yeah.
rewarding. When I got into teaching, which was, let me tell you a little story here, connecting back to MIT. When I got into teaching, I learned this from a very important person in my life, which has been an MIT mentor and the director of the MIT Entrepreneurship Center, Bill Howlett, to whom I want to give credit for my initiation into teaching and training and of startups and mentoring. And the reason I mentioned this is because I met him in 2016. I was there for our 25th alumni reunion in Boston as the MIT class of 91. So we had a master class with Professor Bill Howlett. He was a brand new star at MIT with had a brand new entrepreneurship center, and he had just published his book. I loved his master class, and I loved the description of entrepreneurship in his book and the tools that he was teaching there. And I said, Bill, I would love to teach with your book back in Madrid. I had been asked to teach a course in English here in a local university, and I said, can I use this for teaching in Spain? Of course. He said, the book is yours. The book is yours. Just give me credit for it. And I will help you. Are you an alumni? You've been an entrepreneur. Then, okay, I will help you. So he did help me a lot. He gave me a lot of coaching, a lot of materials to start teaching, and then very smart for Bill and for the MIT mentality and the win-win mentality in terms of entrepreneurship is, just give us feedback once in a while. Send us your best practices, and create a community. And right now we have in this community, and we are actually connected, and we met in Boston last year. We have about 50 MIT alumni and entrepreneurship professors from around the world. We got together, and exchanged ideas, and we raised the bar in terms of how do we teach now with artificial intelligence. And we have created a community, all drinking from the same waters, if I may say. And this is I think it's a great mentality, win-win, And it speaks a lot about not only Bill Howlett himself as the director of the center, but his team as well. And I hope they listen to this. But also the MIT mentality about really sharing knowledge and solving problems around the world.
Yeah. Amazing. So, 30 years of experience, seeing everything in business, basically.
Yeah.
If we, and it's a hard question, this.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
In general tendencies that you have experienced and witnessed and been a part of, what makes or breaks a good startup?
Wow, that's quite a question. We just gave, as I said, we are just going to give 3 prizes this afternoon. And I can tell you, because it's fresh in my mind, what we went through in terms of the jury from the MIT alumni, which are, no rocket science here. So, it has to have, good product, good market fit, and not only the idea has to be a good one and you have to solve a good problem, but you have to do it in the right way, in a cost-efficient way with a market fit, where it's funny because in the MIT entrepreneurship methodology, the first thing that we ask engineers there, and I teach also, as I said, in different places, not only in local universities, but also worldwide. I was asked to go, for example, I was in Saudi Arabia last year teaching through a partner there. Anyway, so everyone understands that the first thing that you need to do is to look for the customer. Really, you may have a great idea, great product, great technology, but really the number one thing that you need to do is to find your customer. Who are you solving a problem for, and whether this customer is willing to pay or not. Because even for social entrepreneurship, there is a customer, which typically are governments or sponsors.
Someone has to pay the bills.
Someone has to pay the bills. So find the customer who is willing to pay your bills, and then spend time doing the market research, doing the segmentation, doing the selection of the beachhead market, and then talk about the product. Okay, so So I'm already answering to your question point 2. So technology and idea and solution, fine, yes, that's necessary. But number 1, find your customer. You know,
Yep.
who are you solving a problem for, and why is he or she going to pay? And third, I would say a combination of good planning and good execution. I would say, which connects to the team. Okay, you need planning. Okay, you need to do a marketing plan. No question, sales plan. No question. You know, business model, pricing. No question. But you know, execution. You know, attention to the details, and day by day hard work, as I said earlier. Really will my experience, that's what makes a difference. I have seen great companies with great products, great technologies, and great planning, which fail in execution. And by failing in execution, I also include failing in cash management, for example. Okay, really typical reason why some companies fail. And also great companies with have been very successful with poor planning, poor maybe analytical skills, but really practical, you know, hardworking people who make things happen. That I have seen also. And then the team there and the leadership of the CEO or the founding members all together is very, very important.
It ties a little back to your own 3 core principles that you learned from MIT, basically.
Yeah, at the end, it does, And this is why I mentioned them, because they are so important in my life and in many other entrepreneurs' lives. So hard work, humility, and then having your basics right, you know. In my case, you know, connection to my family, and having your personal life in order, you know. And otherwise, you know, it's just being a happy person. I think it's so important, you know. And even if in the midst of problems and family problems are everywhere, and big family problems are in big families as well. I have a big family. You can still find solutions, and I like to say, by the way, in big families, happiness is bigger, and sadness, you multiply happiness and you divide sadness. And this is true. This is true.
I'm a big family myself, so it might be true.
Yeah, this is true. And having that personal aspect of things in order, and being an honest person, someone who likes to speak the truth and likes to be, is a trusted person. This is very, very important. And hard work and humility, together with a little bit of luck. Sometimes.
I think we will leave that as as an afterthought.
Okay. Perfect.
Because we're actually running out of time.
Okay, perfect, Christian.
So,
I hope it
Juan,
was,
it was fantastic having you on the podcast.
Thank you
So much for taking the time.
Awesome.
Hope you had an amazing time.
Yes.
Here at Horizon Deep
good.
Tech as well, and have an amazing rest of the day as well.
It was great talking to you, Christian.
You too, my friend.
Take care. Thank you.